Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do.
They're one West. They're one West. They're one West.
All right, clap it up. We live from the Baltimore School. This is the One West News Desk. Of course, every Monday night, we're bringing out the heavy topics, the heavy news lines, local, national, and international news. We bring it to you live. And breaking news anytime it feels like breaking, you understand. I'm your host, Captain Sapari, along with Officer Mathum. Along with
Officer Mathum.
And we're gonna bring it to you live. But of course, you've been seeing all over the internet, all over TikTok, Facebook, social media, other sources, the turmoil that's going on internationally. Let me get a hit, man, real quick. You want to open up? Huh? You want to add something?
Oh, loud. Oh. What we're going to be going into? We're going to be going into the evil deeds of America. America has broken treaties with many countries since America has been created. We're going to get into these peace treaties that America has broken against Russia. You understand? And America has turned her back on Ukraine after all of it, after almost, what's that, 3 years? Almost 3 years of warring against Russia, using Ukraine as a proxy, meaning instead of the United States expending their own, human bodies, they use Ukraine as as a battering ram. You understand, to test the might of Russia, and saw that the might of Russia destroyed Ukraine. You understand? Now America has turned its back on, Ukraine, and acting like they want to make peace with Russia. But I don't think Russia's going to fall for that.
Right.
You understand? Russia has been through a lot with the United States. Peace treaties have been broken against Russia since about 2006. I know it was definitely one in 2014 when they started talking about bringing Ukraine into NATO. You understand? And putting
no, please. I had something to add after that.
And putting nuclear weapons into Ukraine. But if you remember, it was probably about 1959 when Russia tried to put nuclear weapons into Cuba. You understand? America was not having that. Now, think about this. Cuba's 90 miles off the coast of Florida, but Ukraine is right on the doorstep of Russia. So you mean to tell me they don't
have a right to defend themselves?
They don't have a right to defend themselves. Exactly. You understand?
Basically.
And that's what America does. America has been doing that since they've set foot on these lands. Okay. They did it against the Native American Indians. They did it against the so-called Hispanics. They definitely did it to us after they destroyed all of our cities and towns. And now they're trying to do it to Russia. You understand?
And listen, America, like we look at America as a great nation with all its military might. You might say it is, but it's really, the USA is a very messy and everybody business type of nation. You understand? They got their foot in everything in many different ways. You may not recognize and understand why people might hate the USA. But we'll go into it. We're going to bring out some international history on how we got to this point. The tensions between America and Russia, how it started, how it developed. This like after World War II, everybody thought this is it. This is the last big one. We got all these treaties. We got all these things in place to prevent, a straight outbreak of war across the face of the earth. Shortly after that, of course, the beast He loves blood.
Right.
He loves money. He loves messiness. They're incapable. They are. This beast is incapable of
Peace.
peace. That's the perfect word. I'm trying. I can't even spit it out. They're incapable of peace. All they know, what the scriptures say, war is in their heart.
War is in their heart.
That's all they know.
The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. And that is definitely a characteristic and the countenance of America.
Now, what's the smoother than butter part? What did they say? In the name of freedom, in the name of democracy, in the name of women's rights,
right?
Civil rights. They got all these rights, but they take everybody damn rights. But they shoot you in the end. I can't.
In the name of equality.
In the name of equality, forget about it. Then they cutting your little boy up in the bits. Now he calling himself a woman.
Right.
They said, well, that's equality. That's inclusion. It's child mutilation.
Yeah.
But we can get into that too, but many things we want to discuss today. We got to recognize and understand this. After World War II, nations came together. Nations formed alliances to prevent what's at the doorstep right now.
Right.
What's happening right now, we don't recognize and understand this. We don't recognize and understand this. We are at the doorstep of World War III. There's no, what do they say, ceasefire. There's no de-escalation of this. And when Donald Trump came into office, I was like, man, I think it's going to calm down his relationship with Putin. But really, he's looking like he chilled with Putin, but he causing strife with his allies. Commander General Hanna said this was going to happen in his lecture in Houston, Texas. He said this was happening right now, that the allies are going to start butting heads. He said this. It's like, man, he said something about France going to come up and listen, everything is happening right now, right before us. And little by little, throughout time, this has been happening. How? I'm going to tell you where it started. It started in the early 90s. When you get a chance, give me the expansion of NATO towards the east. You can save everything that you already have. Yeah, you can use DeepSeek if you like to. Give me the expansion of NATO, and we're going to get a little bit more on this.
Okay. Let's see. I want it.
I'm gonna show you something. What's sad with them? I was thinking on the way to school. You got your CNNs, you got your Bloombergs, you got all these respected sources of information, the sources of news, right? How do you count yourself a journalist?
Right.
How can you count yourself a journalist and you be so biased to the facts of what's going on? I seen a clip on 60 Minutes, them trying to debunk what Trump was saying.
Right.
Yo, Ukraine could have prevented this war.
Right.
And I'm not saying they're gonna think Republican, but we don't give a damn about Trump. They all devils. That's what you gotta recognize and understand. There ain't no side of the table that's gonna bring some type of liberation to America, some type of liberation to you. But we're gonna point out the facts on both sides of the table. You understand? They all devils. What was I saying prior to that?
Expanding to the east, NATO, in the 90s.
In the 90s, 94. What's that time? Clinton. In the Clinton era, that's when it really started to push.
Right.
and really start to push in this era. You got a story for me?
Come, sir.
Go ahead.
Did NATO betray Russia by expanding to the east? The Kremlin claims that the West broke a promise it made in the 90s.
When?
In the 90s.
You know, I just point this out. I mean, come on. We just pulled that up. I'm just saying. We just got to go to the source for the people, though. Let's go.
It says the West broke a promise it made in the 90s not to expand NATO, and is now using this claim to justify threats to invade Ukraine.
You see that? You see that? They're not going to put that on CNN. They're not going to put that on 60 Minutes. They pushing boundaries. You understand? Just imagine Russia or another foreign country try to set up shop in Canada. America would be losing their goddamn mind.
Right.
They would be losing their goddamn mind. Imagine a foreign entity try to set up shop in Mexico. They'll be losing their mind, just like they lost their mind with Cuba. They lost their mind with Cuba and cut them off from the rest of the earth. They couldn't even get COVID treatment. They couldn't even get COVID treatments. We don't understand the severity of an embargo that's still going on today. They act like the Soviet Union Soviet Union don't even exist no more.
Right.
They just doing it out of spite now. And the only two nations that what is the power they have in the UN? What's the call?
The veto power.
They have the veto power, so everybody can vote against the embargo, and they got that veto power. They cancel it out.
Right. And with that, they got five nations that have that veto power. It's Russia, China, the U.S., Great Britain, and what's the other one?
UK. Somebody in the UK. Another European nation.
It's another European nation. But remember, because of the friction with China and Russia, they don't come to the UN anymore.
Right.
You understand? The presidents don't anyway. And the voting all comes down to the European countries. So every time something is voted upon, whatever the U.S. says is what goes.
It won't go. Surely the oppressor is the devil.
That the Bible speaks of. That's the reason why they created BRICS.
So look. So this expansion of NATO was fine and dandy with Russia, was fine and dandy with many nations. But when you start pushing to the borders of other nations that ain't with NATO and other people's territory, like Ukraine belongs to Russia, dum-dum.
Right.
You got to imagine like this, like the cat got on Trump's stage, said something stupid about Puerto Rico, not knowing Puerto Rico is a territory of America, dum-dum. You don't understand. Like, we don't even understand the international borders here. Come on. You got some more?
Come on, sir. One of Russia's consistent demands has been for the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, which is NATO, to stop expanding to the east and pledge never to include Kyiv in the security alliance.
Exactly. They had these alliances set up. They had these treaties set up. Hey, listen. We see y'all teaming up, y'all buddy, but listen, this my spot. Keep it in this region. They keep pushing that button for decades now. This is in the 90s under Clinton. They kept pushing this and pushing this and pushing this. And then later down the line, the bombing in Serbia happened. We get into that too.
Right.
Go ahead.
But NATO has long insisted it has an open door policy to any nation that meets its criteria for membership.
See, they don't give a damn. Listen, anybody want to be on my team? The hell with them treaties. The hell with international borders. This is their mindset. They trying to come up. They trying. What are they trying to gain by this? They're stirring up the pot here. They're stirring up this world war. It's inevitable. Trump said it himself. He said it himself. you're very close to World War III. They know them people in them high seats. They know what's at the door right now.
Right.
They don't know that. They may not know that it's no backing out, but they there. We there.
It's another thing too, Cap. A lot of their leaders from the UK and leaders from the United States have been telling the U.S. leaders that if they try to expand toward the east and close to Russia, that it will start a war. They've been telling them this since the mid-90s, not to expand NATO, but the United States, in her all-out characteristics, in all of her evil ways, doesn't want to hear that. America knows that World War III is going to begin, but America believes that she's going to come out on top in World War III. But America doesn't understand that the Most High is going to destroy her when World War III gets really kicking. And the thing about it is, America doesn't even understand or see that her economy is shrinking, is falling, it's being destroyed. And America destroyed its own economy. You send all of your industries, you subcontracted all of your industries to all of these other countries. Now, America has to create ways to build her economy. And then on top of that, $37 trillion in the hole. That's America. Now, if a war breaks out, and America's in the middle of that war, America falls just like Great Britain did right after World War II. You understand? Just like all of those European nations fell, just like Germany fell. They all fell because their economies couldn't withstand a direct hit with a war. And this direct hit right here, and especially how America is separating herself from her allies. How do you separate yourself from Canada? How do you separate yourself from Mexico? How do you separate yourself from Germany, the UK, and all of those other countries, Paris and all of those other countries, France and all of them? Those are your allies. You begin to separate yourself from your allies. Now you have nothing but enemies around you.
And listen, those other nations take the statements of Trump and the statements of was the Ukraine Zelensky very seriously.
Right.
Zelensky said Russia dropped something in Poland. That was an incorrect thing, and then they came back and said it was some type of mistake by the Ukrainians. Trump want to open his mouth and say what? Canada is going to be the 51st state. They took that serious.
Right.
They was boycotting American-made product. Like, you don't see that on your social media because they control that too. That's why you need us.
Right.
That's why you need real journalists. CNN ain't gonna we don't even know. It's gross. When we prepare for these shows and these radio shows of the Black Watch and Cross the Line and everything, this is true journalism at its finest.
Right.
So like that just bother me.
No,
it's true. It's true journalism at its finest. You understand? You're not going to get this. Bloomberg not going to bring out these essential facts about Clinton and NATO. They just say, well, NATO is all about peace and prosperity and unity and inclusion. Listen, they're causing international turmoil. Started in the 90s with the expansion of NATO, and they keep knocking on Russia's door. Keep knocking on Russia's door. Russia chilling.
Right.
They said, y'all want Cuba? Well, the Soviet Union is over, but you know the correlation. No sweat. We ain't dealing with Cuba. They doing the same thing. Nobody gonna look at America like they the big bad wolf. Meanwhile, they the big bad wolf.
Right.
Meanwhile, they the big bad wolf though. Any more NATO on the NATO article?
Come on, sir. The United States and NATO dismissed Moscow's security demands as a non-starters in a written response to the Kremlin delivered last week by the U.S. ambassador to Russia. While the current standoff between Russia and the West is based on many grievances, the narrative of Western betrayal has featured prominently in Moscow's rhetoric for decades.
How long?
For decades.
They thought the Cold War was over with them. Go ahead. You got it.
The thing is like I said, they've been expressing this for decades. This is not something that, they just, well, why didn't you say something in the beginning? Russia has been saying this in the beginning. As a matter of fact, they had a high official in Ireland tell them the same thing, that if you try to expand into Kyiv near Russia, exactly, you're going to start a war. Exactly. Understand?
This is decades ago. This is not, if I could, just to add to what you were saying.
Come on, sir.
This ain't newfound news. You can just pull it up on your Google or on whatever search engine you choose. It's out there for the masses. But CNN and 60 Minutes and Bloomberg, they act like this information doesn't exist. And then they come out there, the propaganda is ridiculously, it's like, it's insulting.
Right.
It's insulting. Like I'm watching the TikTok, I'm watching 60 Minutes, and they're obviously biased. They let their political bias blind them from true journalism. If you had anything else, please.
In a speech at the Munich Security Conference in 2007, Vladimir Putin accused Western powers of violating a solemn pledge by considerably enlarging NATO, most notably with the Baltic countries joining the alliance in 2004, asking what happened to the assurances our Western partners made after the dissolution of the Warsaw Pact.
Come on.
NATO has not stopped expanding since the fall of the Soviet Union, growing from 17 countries in 1990 to 30 today, several of which were once part of the Soviet-led Warsaw Pact.
They're double. Go ahead.
So that's Poland. That's Poland, Warsaw. They got a couple of other countries right there along that border, right across that border.
Okay.
With Poland. That's the reason why they said if anything should happen, the first country that they're gonna bomb is Poland. This is the reason why Poland is asking the United States not to expand NATO. But what does the United States care? Because the United States is a half a hemisphere away. Poland is right there. That's the first one that gets hit. The person standing the closest is the one that get hit.
Right.
And America doesn't care about any of these other countries. Just like America doesn't care about so-called blacks and Hispanics right here in America.
Right. And like we mentioned earlier, and America is not even a part of NATO. They just like bullies overseeing NATO. They're like NATO's, it's the proxy. They're using NATO as a proxy.
Yeah.
You got any more?
This is probably what you was looking for right here.
Good.
To understand Russia's claim of betrayal, it is necessary to review.
I got a link on that. What's the headline?
The headline is
the NATO betray Russia. I got you. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me get back to that. Where was we at? Here we go. The origin of the betrayal claim. To understand Russia's claims of betrayal, it is necessary to review the reassurances then U.S. Secretary of State James A. Baker made to former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev during a meeting on February 9th, 1990. In a discussion on the status of a reunited Germany, the two men agreed that NATO would not extend past the territory of East Germany, a promise repeated by NATO's Security General in a speech on May 17th that same year in Brussels. Russia and the West finally struck an open agreement in September that would allow NATO to station its troops beyond the Iron Curtain. However, the deal only concerned a reunited Germany, with further eastward expansion being inconceivable at that time. The Soviet Union still existed and the countries of Eastern Europe were still part of the Soviet structure, like Warsaw Pact, which was not officially dissolved until July 1991, said Emil Zima, doctor of political science at the Thucydide Center, Pantheon Asa in Paris. We cannot speak of betrayal because a chain of events that will rearrange the security configuration in Europe was about to take place. In short, at a time when Westerners were offering guarantees spoken of by Vladimir Putin, no one could have predicted the collapse of the USSR and the historic upheavals that followed. And it talks about the fall of the Soviet Union 30 years after that. And then after that fall of the Soviet Union, America felt like they could do anything because the only country that really gave put some kind of fear in America was Russia. So right after that fall of the Soviet Union, the United States felt like they could make any kind of moves and do anything that they wanted because they're
the new bullies.
Right, they're the new bullies on the block.
So where we at now? Now you got your new bully using NATO as a proxy, as a pawn in the earth, trying to put missiles here, trying to put missiles there. They ain't nothing but American proxies right there.
Right.
They ain't nothing but USA proxies right there. And listen, who sniffed that out? Who sniffed that out? Putin.
Right.
Let me pull this up.
There you go. Hungary, Poland, Czech Republic, and all of that. Yeah.
Here we go. We're gonna get back to the whole where you at right there.
Kind of a
and then you at the Soviet right part. Right. When I get to the Soviet part, pause me.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna give you a small breakdown on the treaties that that America, withdrew from. The United States have withdrawn from several treaties, particularly with Russia. These are the ones excuse me, sorry. And or the Soviet Union over the years, often citing compliance issues or changing strategic priorities. These withdrawals, while controversial, were typically executed through legal mechanism, meaning what's a fancy word? That's called being crafty, called being messy.
Right.
You know what I mean? The source I'm using got a funny choice of words, but that's called being messy and crafty, and that's called the workaround. This is what the oppressor does.
Right.
He never keeps his treaties. He never keeps his word. Should have known that, but we get to break down on a couple of these things concerning, particularly Russia and America, and then when I get to Soviet here, just stop. The big one, which is really dynamic because of this. This was supposed to prevent nuclear war. This specific treaty here, but typically executed through legal mechanisms allowed by the treaties themselves. Below are key examples. Number one, Anti-Ballistic Missile Treaty, 1972. Background: aimed to limit missile defense systems to prevent an arms race. That's the arms race that you read earlier in the article. America backed out of it. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Something that was put in place to protect the lives of millions. America said, no, we got to do away with that.
Right.
They the new bully. Like, have they not become the new Soviet? I mean, goddamn. I mean, but tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Maybe I got it wrong. Come on.
Salaki, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
We can't even say they become the new Soviet. That's a lie that we've always been told.
Dang.
You understand?
Mm-hmm.
They are the new, just like they called in the Bible, they are the new Sodom or the new Egypt or Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
You understand? Even since we were kids, they always put in our minds that Russia was the evil empire. I'm not saying that Russia was a perfect nation. No nation is perfect. We know that on this earth right now. You understand? But we were always led to believe that Iran, Russia, and anybody over in the Middle East was an evil empire.
The propaganda.
The propaganda was pushed upon us. You understand? It was spoon-fed to us to the point where when we got older, we always looked at them and always called Russia the evil empire. You understand? Not understanding that we were actually in the evil empire.
Even in the comics.
Right.
Even in your comic books, they'll propaganda in there.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Games. I remember that video game Russian Attack. You understand? It was two Americans always going in, destroying all of the military bases in Russia, destroying Russia. And you had to go through and conquer Russia. You understand? They put it even as children, they planted it in our minds that, that's evil. You understand? Even think about it. Even on Mike Tyson Punch Out, they always had a Russian that was on there. Or somebody that was, you understand what I'm saying? Somebody that was evil on there from another nation, Iran, Russia. They always use them as, tools of propaganda. You understand? Especially when we're young. You understand? When our minds are able to soak up, all kinds of propaganda.
And listen, not saying we on Russia's side or anybody's side.
Right.
They're all evil. And what the Lord is doing is putting them against each other for our sake.
Right.
For our sake. That's what we got to remember and recognize and understand. But mind you this. Ain't none of there's no good side. We out there praying for Ukraine. And Ukraine, I don't know when the war started, man, it was all these flags, blue and yellow flags. Man, Ukraine was one of the known for being corrupt,
right?
For money laundering. It was a corrupt nation, and now they got a goddamn comedian as a president, literally.
Well, Salaki, if I may, sir.
Go ahead.
Let's go even deeper than that. Ukraine, once they got established, Ukraine spoke Russian. You understand what I'm saying? So what they did was the Ukrainians tried to go through and ethnically cleanse Ukrainians from Russian culture and everything. So anybody that spoke Russian, anybody that kept Russian culture, anything like that, they unalived. Now, we ain't talking about kicking out of a country or moving them out. We talking about they unalived them. This is the reason why in 2014, Russia had to step in and stop Ukraine from unaliving Russians. That's the stories that we don't get. You understand?
And listen, they ain't no you're not seeing any news stories coming out of Ukraine for a reason. You're not seeing any news stories coming out of Gaza. You're not seeing no news stories coming out of Israel either. Nor Russia.
Right.
Why? Because America must control the narrative. Must control keep the propaganda on his side. It's gross, huh?
Right.
The journalism in America is absolute. And if you say anything that ain't on the news or that can be considered misleading, it's false news. Listen, right. This is we bringing up facts. NATO expanded. And expanded in areas they wasn't supposed to. America backed out of treaties that were supposed to keep people alive. And now where we at? We at World War III. Huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We at World War III. Somebody said online, Russia and Ukraine, that's W on W crime. You know what that stands for.
Yeah, it
They
is.
W on W crime a little different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let me get to these bulletins, though. It's very important that we recognize and understand why anti-ballistic missile treaty they backed out. U.S. withdrawal in 2002. What happened in 2001? 9/11. It's not. It was 2000 or 2001.
2001.
2001. So in the what was the breakdown before that? Legal. What's the word they used here? It said legal mechanisms.
Mechanism. Okay.
That's the legal mechanism. Are we just trying to defend ourselves?
Right.
The play on words, smoother than butter, and they didn't trick you, and they didn't backed out in this treaty. Now they got missiles on a doorstep of your so-called ally. Russia was the so-called ally. It ain't now. I don't know what you call it now. Where we at? Did I go too far?
Wow.
In 2002, okay, yeah, here we go. In 2002, President George Bush withdrew, arguing the treaty hindered defense against emerging threats. And then it has in quotes from non-Russian states. They talking about Iran. They talking about Iran. They talking about Afghanistan and Iraq. That's what they talking about.
Right.
But really, they just setting up for it's chess, man. It's a chess game. They setting up for the big woe.
Right.
The big woe is World War III. It's all strategic here. And they've been planting that bug. They've been poking that bear since the 90s. Before 2002. Let's get Russia's response. Moscow criticized the move as destabilizing. Did I pronounce that?
Destabilize.
That's the word. Destabilizing. But later developed new weapons. 2. Another treaty. Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, 1987. Background. Bandit ground-launched missile with ranges of 500 to 5,500 kilometers. U.S. withdrawal. In 2019, the Trump administration accused Russia of violating the treaty by deploying the Navitor 9M729 missile. The U.S. formally withdrew, promoting Russia to exit as well. Like, meaning, listen, the hell with them treaties. It's on and pop. Like, y'all, we thinking I'm on. Oh, Trump getting in there. He's the man for the job. He's going to end the war. Meanwhile, Trump started something that you don't even recognize and understand.
Right.
Y'all getting fooled by the propaganda. They put them on screen, shaking hands and talking behind closed doors. They canceling out nuclear deals. This ain't no regular ballistic missile here.
Right.
They talking about nuclear power, nuclear forces here. Another treaty opens. I'm not going to go into all of them, but Open Skies Treaty, the Conventional Arms Force in Europe. That's probably just a bunch of NATO stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Last point I'll bring up, and then I'll go back into the Soviet. Legal versus violation. Withdrawal is permitted under treaty provisions, whereas breaking applies violating terms without following exit procedures. The U.S. framed its actions as lawful responses to Russian breaches. Excuses. That's all it is. Matham, you had something to bring out?
Just like you was talking about, they after 9/11, they wanted to go in. They made a plan to go in and destroy 7 Muslim countries. Mm-hmm. That included Iran and Iraq and all of those Middle East countries to take over. The one thing that stopped them from doing a lot of that was because Russia was already aligned with a lot of those Muslim countries over there. You understand? So this is another reason why America wants to get Russia out of the way. You understand? But now they're looking at China. So it's a big melee going on. And this is the reason why we already know we in World War III already. Just like Moses in Egypt with those plagues. Those plagues, we always, when we read these, when we read the Bible, we always think these plagues came one after the other, after the other, after the other. Those plagues went on, and then eventually died off. Why do you think Pharaoh's heart got hardened? Because after that plague went away, all of a sudden he was like, oh, well, I can continue to do what I do. Just like America. Once something, flashes over, America believes, well, I can go back to doing what I was doing. And then eventually America's going to fall because of her arrogance. Just like Egypt did. That's how the Most High works. The Most High works in his own time. We believe that things, as soon as you say World War III is going to begin, we always expecting to see the bombs, but the bombs are dropping. We just don't recognize the bombs. You understand? The propaganda is the bombs. All the lies and the broken treaties are the bombs. We just not recognizing it.
You're absolutely right. You ain't gonna get this on your CNN though.
Right.
This is uncut and raw truth. You understand? You want to continue on in that order?
Okay. The fall of the Soviet Union, 30 years on. In addition, these promises were made orally and were never recorded in a treaty, recalled Oliver Kemp, associate researcher at the Foundation of Strategic Research. Now, we all know that treaties, whenever treaties are made, America always writes treaties because America has to have something physically that she can break. You understand? This is just a part of America. But America never makes treaty, and Russia never agrees to treaties, you understand, without having it in writing. The turning point of NATO enlargement came much later in 1995 at the request of the Eastern European countries. That year, NATO published a study on its enlargement before starting membership talks 2 years later with Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic, all of which would become members in 1999. The addition of these new members has long sparked debate with NATO, thus undermining the Russian myth of betrayal orchestrated by the West, which is what America did. You understand? Just like the brother said, whoever said it is white on white crime, but it affects us all because once a bomb drops, everything stops. You understand? Even with the American administration, some thought that NATO should not expand because it would make it less effective, dilute its skills, and become a financial burden, which is explaining exactly what it's doing. You understand? Think about this, right? Just before Trump came in, what did Biden do? What did he give Ukraine? He gave Ukraine $350 billion, of which most of that, they don't know where it went. $350 billion. You know what we could do with that?
Jeez, forget about it.
$350 billion.
The USA and NATO, and I made a statement earlier. USA is a part of NATO. They're like the founding. They're like the. How can I put it? Like the spearhead.
Mm-hmm.
The spearhead, and everybody follows suit. So you might they'll say NATO is doing something, but it's really the US.
Right.
That's the correlation I'm trying to make. They'll say, well, it's NATO, but it's really the US using the name NATO to set up missiles here, to set up a defense here. Everybody's saying the news, oh yeah, Ukraine is going to be a part of NATO. Ukraine. Replace the word NATO with US.
Right.
And you'll get how the criminality behind it. You understand? The US is just trying to put a military base next to Russia.
Right.
That's it. That's all. All them countries that support a part of NATO, you might as well call them USA 2.0. They just a bunch of followers.
North Atlantic Treaty Organization.
Mm-hmm. They're a bunch of followers.
Yep.
Sitting up under America. Now, that's why it looks so crazy and outlandish when America gets on the national stage of a European conference and the vice president of America is lashing out at them. And what can they do? They just little old Europe.
Yeah.
Little old London. Little old Poland. Little old France.
Yep.
And they just saying the big bad wolf, Donald Trump. Listen, you're powerless. You signed yourself. You signed your entire nation over to the beast. We got to do another breakdown on the 7 horns and all those nations. And yo, it's about to go down. It's about to go down it's going down in the year. You had any more to expound?
Yeah, I was saying that'd be good right there. That's 7 horns. You understand? That's a heavy breakdown right there.
And you'll see the 7 horns is all the nations we talking about.
Yeah.
It's all the nations that's in this turmoil, in this international turmoil. But yo, my thumb, it saddens me how far we've removed from reality.
Right.
And we really think that we just picked the right president. We just vote right. If we just in the right party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I used to think that too. You know what? I found this congressman. He running for president. I think he going to do it. It wasn't Bernie Sanders.
Right.
So this is when I was younger. When Ron Paul was popular.
Right.
I was trying to tell him, Ron Paul, he gonna make school free, and he gonna do this X, Y, and my homeboy, he wasn't even insurance. Like, you sound like a goddamn man. I was. He wasn't even in the truth. I'm like, yo, he trying to tell me, they all up, and they are.
Yeah.
You understand? They all are off, man. There ain't no. It don't matter if it's the left wing, the right wing. It's the same bird.
Same bird flying in the same direction.
Same direction.
Yep.
And that direction is World War III. It don't matter if you're so-called conservative or so-called liberal. Guess what? You're still not on the Lord's side. I was watching this video, just to sidebar my thumb earlier. This Christian pastor, he was talking it up. He was a real motivational type cat.
Right.
He was like, to be a Democrat, you got to get rid of half of the Bible. Well, you know, he got a point, but I'm thinking about mine. To be a Christian, you got to get rid of half of the Bible.
Right.
Ain't none of you following the Bible, dum-dum. Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal.
Right. But
think
about that, right? That's how democracy was spread, by Christianity.
Exactly.
You understand? That's how democracy is spread. What did those heathens do when they went over into other nations? They sent in the priest first to sway the people's minds.
There you go.
And if they couldn't sway the people's mind, they would leave, and then the Vikings would come in and destroy the people. You understand? And if they didn't heal under that, then they would burn the whole city or town, then move on to the next town. That's the way Christianity is spread right now. That's the way America spreads democracy. America spreads democracy by the sword. They go in. They destabilize the country. They offer help to that country. Once that country takes that help, then they say, we'll give you that help as long as you become a democratic country. That's how democracy is spread. Democracy is never spread because democracy is the way. Democracy is forced on people. They force it on them, just like they did with the force of the sword. Just like the oppressor does today. He forces his will on people by the sword. Christianity and democracy are the same thing.
Now they celebrating that. Now they got a Christmas tree in the middle of the goddamn desert.
Right.
And they got Christmas trees, and they got they letting off fire. They're gonna be letting off fireworks in July in Iraq,
Right.
in Syria.
You know what's crazy, sir? So, like, if I may,
Easter
what
Bunny.
does the 4th of July have to do with anybody in the Middle East?
And listen, they will
Now,
they will have a fireworks show in Iraq and Afghanistan.
That has everything to do with Europeans. You understand? That doesn't even have anything to do with blacks or Hispanics. Europeans are the only ones. Europeans in America should be the only ones celebrating that. But they got people over in the Middle East celebrating Christmas, celebrating the 4th of July, celebrating New Year's. You gotta be kidding me.
But just to give you a little bit more backdrop on the international turmoil was going on. So when you saw Donald Trump this week or this past week arguing with Zelensky, listen, this is what they always do. They're going to butt heads.
Right.
And there's going to be more nations that come up against America. There's going to be more arguments with other heads of nations. And I think Trump is the perfect job. I listen, when he came in, I'm like, man, he gonna smooth it over with what's his name? Putin. He gonna smooth it over, and it's gonna prolong. I'm listening. I was happy as hell. This war started kick off. You know what I'm saying? World War III, let's get it. And then I'm looking at the turmoil, not just with. I mean, y'all think things is calming down. Things is getting worse. Because the problem ain't Russia now. The problem is the allies. They're gonna come, yo. It's written. I'm just saying, Motam, it's written.
Yeah, it's written.
What's written is written. And it's everything that's going on in the they don't show you every step in the media right now. But everything that's being documented in this public record right now is pointing towards turmoil between allies.
Right.
The expansion of NATO is pushing this war ridiculous into it fast-tracked everything. And the crazy thing is they've been doing it since the 90s. The 90s. And America just said, well, forget the treaties, forget this. We're going to get on this border here. We're going to go on this border there, and pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. That NATO, you got to keep this in mind with them. When you hear NATO, think U.S. What's the word I'm looking for? Invasion.
Mm-hmm.
Think U.S. invasion. They didn't. You
know what else is crazy?
That was so crafty what they did. They literally tricked these nations. Come on,
this what else is crazy, right? America is built on war.
Oh.
The only thing America has going for it is war. Now, I'm saying that to say this, right? Every industry that's thriving right here in America has something to do with war. Whether it be Lockheed Martin, whether it be what's the other one? Northrop Grumman. All of these, even the companies, all of the companies that I just got finished working for, right? All of them have government contracts creating weapons or something that goes with weapons, whether it be fighter jets, whether it be tanks, whether it be missiles. Each one of those jobs that I worked for had something to do with those. They were either contracted or subcontracted through Northrop Grumman or Lockheed Martin or one of those other wartime hero companies. You understand? That's all America has going for her. And this is the reason why America knows nothing but war. What does it say? It says her words of her mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in her heart. This is what America, this is the only thing that is on America's mind is war. and this is her main purpose is to start World War III.
You're absolutely right, and that's why. Okay, that's why it's such a threat that America backed out of those treaties and started through NATO and through them just whatever they want, doing whatever they want to do, get pushing themselves on the eastern bank of Europe. They was never supposed to be. It was supposed to be Russia's territory,
right?
And they just pushed and pushed, and then Russia didn't have no choice but to invade Ukraine. Now, say if they had that nuclear power on Cuba, you think America was just going to let that be? They was going to invade Cuba. I mean, we're unable to comprehend, something so elementary,
right?
Because of the propaganda of the media. We've been fed this story, the big bad wolf, Russia.
Yeah.
The good guys, Ukraine.
Yeah.
The good guys defending themselves, Israel. We've been fed this story like a goddamn movie.
Right.
When all the facts are there. Decades and decades of records of misconduct by the USA, misconduct by NATO, back treaties, and us on the eastern front of Europe.
Right.
Now look at it. Now we in an all-out proxy war on the brink of nuclear destruction.
With Russia.
Now, who's Russia's allied with?
China.
Who they bring in? Got the other ones, though.
China,
North
Iran.
Korea.
Oh, North Korea.
They brought in North Korea.
They aligned with the.
We just forgot about that. That ain't in the news no more. It was in the news for 1 week.
Right.
You see the propaganda? You know what I mean? Other nations is putting their hand, and I just got wind. I gotta do my research. I gotta dig. I think Turkey, which is they have a super duper huge military.
Right.
I think they back in Ukraine. I gotta get a better source.
Mm-hmm.
I saw something earlier.
You might be right on that because Turkey.
Let me look it up.
Turkey is the one that also sold out Syria, right? That allowed Israel in to the Lebanon, and they sold out Lebanon.
Come on. Let me look this up.
They flip-flop. They say Turkey flip-flop.
Let me ask Deep Sea real quick.
Yeah, they trying to keep it. They trying to play both sides of the fence. They trying to play on the side of Israel, and they trying to play on the side of the Middle East. They trying to be. They on both sides of the fence. They trying to get it. They already in NATO, but NATO won't give them a power position. So now they trying to get into BRICS. And if they are, America don't want them to go into BRICS because that's one of the biggest armies that they have is the Turkish army. The Turkish military is one of the biggest militaries they got in NATO. And if they switch over to BRICS and that military goes over, they number 2. If they switch over, then you have the Russian, you have the China, you have North Korea, and then you'd have Turkey all aligned with the biggest armies, which would wipe out NATO just like that. So
now NATO, not NATO, but Turkey is involved,
right, with NATO.
With NATO for sure.
Yeah, they in NATO.
But I'm trying to see if they involved in the war. I got to get a better source. I think they funding. I don't want to use this because
they actually giving weapons to Israel. They playing both sides of the fence. They trying to get paid on both sides. They trying to align themselves so whatever side lose, then you just step the other foot over to the other side. So
now let's get some more involvements from the U.S. with NATO and Ukraine, and how you got any more on that article that you wanted to bring out? Is it on topic still?
It's on topic, but I think it goes more into Ukraine and stuff like that. It's still talking about NATO and the. You want me to read it? Ukraine's strategic importance. For many years, the questions of NATO enlargement has fueled tension between the United States and its allies on one side and Russia on the other side. In August 2008, Georgia's NATO and EU ambitions helped promote Moscow to back pro-Russia separatists in Georgia's self-proclaimed autonomous Republic of South Ossetia and Abkhazia. Listen, Georgia is Russia. What the United States was trying to do last year was they was trying to destabilize the government in Georgia and get them to go against Russia. But Georgia said, "Oh, heck no, we not even in that." But that's part of Russia. You understand? So they was trying to destabilize, get one of their proxies into the power position in Georgia, and then control Georgia and try to get Georgia to go against Russia. But Georgia saw through that, though.
This is an international chess game.
Yeah.
Now, what you got real quick? I want to read this. I'm gonna speak on U.S. and NATO engagement with Ukraine. Partnership programs. Ukraine joined NATO's partnership. Now, this is not necessarily they're a part of NATO, but they have a partnership and a relationship. That's why the narrative and the propaganda in the media, when the war's over, Ukraine's going to be NATO,
right?
And they're going to be a part of NATO. All this NATO talk. And remember, we mentioned earlier you should replace the word NATO with U.S.
Right.
Okay. Let's get it. That's why even in this breakdown here, they separate U.S. and NATO, although U.S. is the founding member and a part of NATO, but they spearhead.
Right.
Okay. Partnership for Peace, 1994. The NATO-Ukraine Commission, 1997. The U.S. supports these frameworks, aiding defense reforms and intro. How do you pronounce this word?
Probability.
Intro probability. Salahi on the English tip.
That's a heavy word.
With NATO standards. Second bulletin, military and aid training. Now this is it's so disrespectful, We don't reckon, you gotta. How can I explain this? I keep going back to Cuba. Imagine Russian forces training Cubans.
Right.
You understand? You see how now it looks off. Now it looks oh God, I got the TikTok on. Bear with me 1 second. Bear with me 1 second, audience. Give me 1 second. I gotta put this TikTok. But imagine Russian troops in Cuba or in Mexico, just to give it a better analogy. Training, having a whole military base in Mexico. Right. America will have an entire fit. There'll be an all-out war with Mexico.
Right.
There'll be an America will 100% invade Mexico if there was Russian troops and military bases from Russia on that land. This is what America did with Ukraine. You understand? Russia got a so-called right to defend itself.
Right.
But the propaganda has skewed it. And now we're not on Russia's side. We don't give a damn about Russia. But we gotta present the news without any bias. We ain't on none of these cats' team. We on the Lord's team. That's the team we on. We on Jesus Christ's team. You understand? We on the Angels team.
Right.
That's the team we on. But you can't deliver the news with bias and propaganda. Look at it for what it is. This is what's happened. This is facts that you can look up yourself. Now you can stop me anytime I'm wrong. Y'all let me know. Let me know in the chat we wrong. We just bringing out the facts. We got articles. We got all the sources. If you want me to bring out a source, just let me know. Let's get some more on this Ukraine engagement. Military aid and training. The U.S. has provided over $40 billion in military aid to Ukraine since 2014. Now, this is prior to, up until or a little bit after the war started, including Javelin missiles and more, escalating after Russia's invasion in 2022 invasion. NATO channels. The U.S. contributes to NATO comprehensive assistance package for Ukraine, offering non-lethal aid, medical supplies, cyber defense, and training throughout initiatives like the Joint Multinational Training Group. Like this is it's like, yo, they antagonized this war. That's why a lot of people thought that statement was outlandish and inaccurate.
Right.
Donald Trump said you shouldn't have started. Donald Trump damn near said Ukraine started the war. When in reality, America and Ukraine started the war.
Right.
Well, Donald Trump is dumb. Also, Zelensky. They're both idiots. But the media will never say that. But they're both dumb. They both say dumb things that's inaccurate. But in reality, America and Ukraine provoked this attack. And Russia was like, "Yo, y'all got to chill."
Right.
Russia was saying, "Chill. Hey, yo, what you doing? This is my territory. You got missiles. Ballistic joint treaty going. I mean, y'all over here, y'all doing this. Y'all over here training. What y'all want to go to war? Was y'all trying to fight? They're like, you gotta put it into like put it into be like it's being you. You provoking the fight.
That was another country that got their government got destabilized by America, Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
That's how America got control of Ukraine. Because they had proxies put into that government.
They've always been in bed with them.
Yeah.
Always been in bed. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's how they got overthrown.
Mm-hmm.
They got overthrown. They put their people in there, and now Ukraine, just like you said, is in bed with America. So this is what you get. And America just used them as a proxy to go to war with Russia. Mm-hmm. Now they getting beat. They lost a whole lot. They lost 4 oblasts, meaning they lost 4 districts in Ukraine, 4 major districts in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. And now Zelensky talking about he want to negotiate to get those districts back, but that's a wrap.
Yep.
Those 4 districts that they took is going to be used as a buffer zone for Russia versus the United States,
which is smart, which is why. But then, like I said, I know it might seem harsh because we're not praying for Ukraine,
right?
But you gotta call it ace and a spade. Donald Trump and Zelensky is a bunch of goddamn idiots. Neither of them are going to win this war. Neither is Russia. Neither is Turkey. Neither is anybody in NATO. Right. Neither is the Palestinians. Neither is the Israelis, which is Amalek.
Right. Nobody wins.
And everybody's looking for a ceasefire. Everybody's looking for an agreement. It may seem like there's an agreement going on. It may seem like there's a ceasefire happening. But in reality, it's just getting started.
Right.
And it's a beautiful thing. When I wake up and I'm on my way to work or I'm at work, right? I envision a missile just hitting something in the like. Yeah, I just that would make my day. I don't even care if I'm gonna get obliterated.
Right.
But it means the liberation of my people.
we be thinking the same way.
Yeah.
We just hoping
On the
to
way,
get somewhere.
I'm close to DC. I just want to see it. I'm right in by DC. Let a missile drop, please.
Yeah.
Even if I'm obliterated in the blast, Lord allow, I get beamed up.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get on that chariot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know when I do see that, if I am blessed to see that, you know what I'm saying?
Blast, right.
You know what that means? That means liberation.
Yeah.
That means liberation for you, black man, Hispanic man. If you had anything to add, please.
That means true freedom.
Come. That means true freedom. That means true liberation. All the hell that we enduring. All the hell that we gotta go through. Our families. The trauma that we gotta live through is ridiculous, man. The trauma I don't gotta get into detail, but it's absolutely horrendous. It's absolutely horrendous, and it's something that we praying that comes to an end.
Right.
We praying for that it comes to an end, and it comes soon and swift. Is that anything to add up?
Nah, sir.
Okay. Jeremiah Hyman not in class. He may not be speaking, teaching tonight. Okay. So after this, we'll probably just cease, all right?
Come on.
But I do want to speak on a couple of more bulletins.
Come on.
If you had anything else to bring up, I want to make sure.
I'm going for you.
I just want to make sure everybody understands and grasps how Ukraine and Russia got to this point.
Right.
And America's involvement in that. Now, we mentioned all of the aid, all of the money. Now it's getting down to the training. Visualize this, right? Say, for instance, China or North Korea went down into Mexico to do a joint task force training, just to train. No, they just trying to train to get better at their defenses, and they just want to come together and be happy with Mexico. And they call it something called the China-Mexico Alliance. They make it sound nice and inclusive, right? That's NATO. And they did that on the doorstep of Russia. Yo, that's not a slap. They should have been invading them, to be honest with you. But Putin had mercy. He said, hey, warning after warning. And then when they invaded, man, I couldn't remember the news. The news broke out. He's the bad guy. Russia, pray for Ukraine. The propaganda was damn near like it was prepared. It was like he was damn near prepared. The international court system put out an arrest for Putin. And everybody like, yeah. They put out, you know what I'm saying? Same thing happened for Netanyahu. They called him anti-Semitic. They say he got Benjamin Netanyahu got the same arrest warrant
right.
Putin got, and then they called the same court system anti-Semitic. You believe that?
Right.
The propaganda is crazy, ain't it? Ain't it seem like everybody coming up against each other? One minute you're praising the international court, the next minute you called the international court anti-Semitic. Which one is it? Is it just or is it unjust, Patel?
Right.
You let me know. I'm just pointing out the obvious. All right. They say Putin the bad guy, arrest him.
Right.
He come to your nation, arrest him. He's war crimes, blah blah blah. Now Putin, that's why they had to get rid of that TikTok.
Yeah.
They had too much news coming out. What them goddamn devils was doing to them Palestinians.
Yeah.
You ain't seen nothing come out of Israel. Ain't nothing happening in Israel. Why we can't get to Israel? Give me some Israel TikTok. That's what they call it.
Right.
They say they call it World Talk. Where's World Talk for Israelis? Where they at? Meanwhile, they over there protesting the whole government. Y'all don't even know that.
Right.
CNN, Bloomberg, NBC ain't covering a goddamn thing. And I don't even want to say it's embarrassing. They not. We the real news source. They not embarrassing me. We the real journalists. My bad.
Right.
I'm come on. You had anything?
That's that propaganda, though. You understand? They're not gonna give us real news, because then we're gonna have an opinion. They want your opinion to be their opinion.
Right.
You understand? Yeah. And they talk about Trump freezing aid to Ukraine now. After that little spat.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see that. Hold up. Here we go with that, right? You
want the news? Go ahead.
Yeah. Trump pauses military aid to Ukraine after a bust-up with Zelensky. U.S. President reported move comes hours after he accused Ukrainian leader of not wanting peace. United States President Donald Trump has paused military aid to Ukraine in a dramatic escalation of his spat with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, according to the U.S. media reports.
And it was comical.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was comical. Go ahead.
And that was like two dudes just sitting on the couch talking and
front porch.
Beefing back and forth. You know what I mean?
You on a block or something,
right?
Y'all on the front porch or something.
And I believe Trump got kind of embarrassed because Zelensky kept coming back at him. Right. You understand? And Trump is used to people humbling themselves.
Right.
And
he was hot.
You understand? He was hot. Yeah, he was hot.
Vance was hot too.
Yeah, yeah. Because as a vice president, you know,
you gotta have your back.
You gotta have his back, or now he done spit in both of y'all faces.
And really, it was off to a bad start. Like I think it was already pissed.
Yeah,
he got out the vehicle, right?
Right.
President Zelensky, right? First thing Donald Trump said, "Well, you all dressed to the nine."
Right.
He was not. He had like some athletic wear on or something like that.
Like he always
he was disrespecting him out the gate. Like he was already bad blood.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. This international turmoil ain't coming to an end.
Right.
And we got 4 more years of this international turmoil. And I think somebody gonna hit that button. I pray this nigga grows more arrogant by the day.
2020, that's 30, right? Then
we're in 25.
No. I'm talking about days in. He's only 40 days, almost 40 days into his presidency.
So
you got 3 more years plus.
We got 3 more years plus.
Oh, it's about to be set off. Because think about all of the moves that he made up just these few days in to his presidency. He started on day 1. He started signing stuff on day 1 to bring us closer to World War III. We already in World War III, but the visual is about to be there. See, we looking at videos and reports of bombs dropping in other nations, but it's about to be to the point where everybody knows America has never been bombed on. So when you see a bully, right, everybody says, what's the analogy that everybody uses? All you got to do is hit that bully one time. And all of a sudden you'll curdle them, right? So this is the thing, right? Everybody around the whole globe is saying the same thing. They thinking the same thing. I wonder what would happen if this happens to America. How would they handle it? You understand what I'm saying? We look at America as that America of the 1990s with the strongest, military force on the planet. But that has long been gone for America. First of all, we have to understand that Russia, number 1, has the best fighter planes on the globe. China has the greatest and the largest military force on the globe. Turkey has the number 2 military force on the globe. Think about this. What's that? Iran has a military force, one of the biggest military forces on the planet. So now, if you put all 4 of them together, all 4 of them are together. America has France to rely on, who has an army, a military force of no more than 200,000. I mean, think about this, right? China has that just on their own borders alone. Turkey has that. Easy.
Mm-hmm.
Russia has that at the sneeze of a hat. So you got France backing you. Great Britain has never been the same since World War II.
Oh.
They are nothing. You understand? They don't even have a real military force to back anything. That's why you don't hear about them. You understand? Poland has nothing.
Right.
You understand?
Right.
Napoleon, what was he? He was with France, right? France. Yeah, Napoleon.
I thought he went Spain?
No, that Napoleon was with France.
Okay.
But I think it was with France, right? Napoleon.
Let me double check.
But in any sense, France has a small military force that can barely, protect their own. Napoleon Bonaparte, that was France, right?
France. Yep.
France.
Ruler of France.
Ruler of France. Napoleon Bonaparte.
69 to 8. No, that was his birth.
And listen.
Yeah, he ruled over France.
What was the years that he was the ruler of France?
It was first Council of France, 1799.
All the way.
1804, he became emperor. And then 1804, he ruled France until his downfall in 1814.
And that was the last time that France was a great force on the earth.
Word.
That was when they were the greatest force on the earth. You understand? And they have since fallen from grace. They have never been that force ever since that. After Napoleon Bonaparte, think about this, right?
They fell off.
Think about this, though. This is how you can tell they fell off. Who was the leader of France after Napoleon Bonaparte?
You don't even know.
Don't even know.
You probably don't.
because that was the height of their greatness right there. And after that, that was a wrap on them. Even with Great Britain, who was that? Who was the leader of Great Britain during World War II?
Great Britain. I don't
Can't remember. But if I'm not mistaken, Winston Churchill was a part of them, right? Winston Churchill was from Britain, right?
I couldn't say definitively.
London, Great Britain, Winston Churchill. But that was the last time. That's when, remember, at that time right there, that's when Great Britain was at its height. And then Great Britain fell. Once Great Britain fell, who was in tutelage under Great Britain? The United States. That's when the United States rose. Now think about this, right?
While you speaking, I'm trying to get the 7 horns.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to look in my notes.
So when Great Britain fell, that's when the United States rose. Now we're gonna go back to a little bit of history, right? At the beginning of World War II, World War II started in
a lot of the 7 horns is kind of ancient, like Greek,
right?
Babylon.
But who are those nations today?
Today, that's the question.
That's the question right there. But World War II started, was it 1939? 1938, 1939, World War II, the beginning of World War II. It ended in 1945. Understand this, America didn't. The beginning, it started when?
39 to 45.
39 to 45. So 1939, World War II began, right? America came into World War II when? In 1944, right? In 1944, how did that happen? That happened when the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor. That's the reason why America came into World War. And they did that in 1943. Was that 43?
What, the attack on Pearl
The
Harbor?
attack on Pearl Harbor, 1942.
Let me get it real fast.
41.
Let me get it real quick.
Attack on Pearl Harbor, 1941.
You own the money. You
Yeah,
own,
1941.
that's why we will originally be doing the history class. We on the news desk. I guess we need to cross over the history class for a little bit.
So 1941, America entered World War II in 1941. But think about this, right? All of the other countries that were fighting in World War II were fighting against many countries at one time. The thing about America was only fighting against Japan. So they didn't have the wear and tear and destruction on their military force. Not only that, America did not get attacked on its own homeland.
Mm-hmm.
Every nation that was in World War II got attacked in their homeland, and homelands were destroyed. This is the reason why Great Britain fell and was the end of that ruling power, that superpower. Right. So in the sense, America was fighting Japan from 1941 all the way up until 1944 is when they joined with Russia and all of the other allies, and then they forced their way in up, and that's when they were fighting in Stalin against Germany. Germany was fighting on 3 or 4 different fronts. They extended their army so much so that's how they got weakened. Actually, Germany was kicking the crap out of the Soviet Union.
It was.
You understand what I'm saying?
They was whooping them.
But because they had extended themselves so much, so far, and fighting on so many fronts, they got spread thin.
Yeah.
Then what happened after that was a freak of nature, and I mean nature literally. That Russian winter set in, and then that was a wrap right there. Now, had they attacked Soviet Union just by that and brought all of their forces to attack the Soviet Union, they would have knocked them right out. And at the same time, people don't know America did not want to come up against Germany. But because it was so many nations, they let all of those nations get worn down. Right. And once all of those nations got worn down, that's when the American forces came in, because it was hell. D-Day was hell.
And listen, let me make this point too. America has always done that. That's how America, people think they overcame the North Americans so easily.
Right.
They had to wait until famine and smallpox settled in and other natural disasters happened for them to overtake. Like, these goddamn devils are cowards.
You know what?
They've never been real warriors. The only reason they overtook America is because of natural disasters and civil wars within the Americas already.
Right. Let's rewind that
a
little bit. Let's rewind that a little bit, because you what you touched on was real heavy, because you just said what they did. Now think about this, right? They understood that they could not beat the Native American Indians just square, right?
It was never a fair fight.
So what they did was they took the major resource of the Native American Indians, which was the buffalo. Mm-hmm. They destroyed the buffalo, and then they just like you said, they let the famine and they let the starvation set in first before they begin to attack. That's how they destroyed the Native American Indians.
Not only that, okay, the other northern tribes too.
Right.
The Incas and those brothers all throughout the Americas, the so-called Brazilians, all those brothers and sisters, the Chileans, they was going through civil wars and famine and illnesses, and they came in at particular moments. Like, before those particular moments, they was getting they behind worked.
Right.
And then they needed the advancements of technology and the Gatling gun to conquer but before those times, they couldn't do a goddamn thing. I'm telling you, they was getting their ass whooped.
Not fighting head to head.
No, it was no way.
No.
That's why you always on the front line, black man.
Right.
Like, we don't understand how valuable we are. We are the greatest warriors in the earth. Black man, Hispanic man, and Native Indian man.
Right.
That's why we're the greatest boxers in the UFC arena, on the football field, any sport, anything athletic.
Right.
We there. And then when you go into the intricate parts of war and warfare, they still need us there. A black man built DC for a reason. Why? It's a defense.
Right.
The whole layout is a defense to defer you from the Capitol buildings in the White House.
Confused.
The confusion.
Yep.
They listen. They need us for everything, man. They need us. They're not going to get out of hand.
Wait a minute. You just brought up something heavy too, right? Was that World War I where they used the Native American Indians to they used the code.
Code.
Wasn't that the code they was using in Native America because they was trying to get code? They was trying to get messages back and forth, but their messages kept getting intercepted. So they used the Native American Indian.
I'm not too sure about that. I'm not.
I gotta get that. I gotta get that. Yeah, but that was.
But I brought that up to say this. They've always used those.
Right.
Since we on World War II, right?
Yeah.
Now. They've always used those tactics to overcome their their target or what have you. They're a crafty beast. They're a crafty beast. You understand? Gotta remember and recognize this beast. That's why you gotta recognize their track record has always been to be crafty and conniving. That's why we see a pattern here.
Right.
A pattern of cowardness. A pattern of being dishonest.
Right.
With breaking treaties. A pattern of messiness. So much so it's become international.
Right.
Any more?
Wow. But just like you said, right? Just like Psalms 83, they have taken crafty counsel against our people. You understand? And this is what they use, and this is how they keep control of us. You understand? They always use that. We are one people. This is one big melting pot. And then they always put a Martin Luther King. You understand? Or whoever on top. Or a Colin Powell make you think that, if they did it, you can do it. And they put monuments up to have us worshiping these monuments. And this is the reason why a lot of us are worshiping that Martin Luther King today. Martin Luther King was somebody who they propped up to further, their cause, not our cause. Think about it, right? Equal rights. And we was talking about this couple of days ago, or last week, we was talking about the equal rights thing. There's no such thing as equal rights. You understand? Equal rights has never been ratified. Think about what ratified means. And we talked about that last week. When you ratify something, that means you confirm it or you say this is a law. If they're still trying to ratify equal rights today, that means this is not a law. It means that you really don't have equal rights.
Really more or less an idea.
Yeah, an idea.
Than anything.
And that thing about reparations, even reparations, right? Reparations is not on the books. It is not up. It is not even up for discussion. Every time they bring up reparations, it's bringing up reparations just to discuss, not to give you reparations, but to discuss reparations. And we get so, joyful when we hear, well, they're going to bring up reparations. They're going to talk about reparations. Yeah, that's all they're going to do. And they vote on it to turn it down every year. And every year they turn down reparations, but the so-called small hats got reparations. And during World War wasn't that World War II when the Chinese got reparations? After they got put in concentration camps after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, they got reparations for that. Think about it.
Slave owners in the South
got reparations.
They literally got reparations.
How do you get and they talking about giving Europeans reparations again?
Dang. And look, if I could add to this, it just shows that you the nation that's not desired.
Not desired.
And this Doge that we've been bringing up for the last couple of weeks
Right.
should show you how much money they throwing away to garbage.
Yep.
And they can't give you a dime.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
They get
All y'all went out there, voted for Trump, right? My bad.
Mhm.
Or voted in general.
right.
And now what's coming out, listen, it was pouring money into a cheese rolling competition.
Oh.
Millions. Yo, follow that Doge account on X. Go ahead, hit that follow button on Elon Musk. I know you hate him.
Right.
I know. Oh, he's a billionaire. And yes, you're right. You're right. My bad. I just hit the thing.
He was born a billionaire. He was born a billionaire. Anybody that's born a billionaire can do what they want to do. And he's doing exactly what he was born to do, just like Donald J. Trump doing what they was born to do.
So look, go ahead, get on that X account. I know you hate Twitter. Follow them. They're doing it for research purposes.
Yeah.
And find out how much money they not giving you. That's why I'm following. That's why we bringing it up. I'm just showing you how much they don't give a damn about you, black man. That's all. Them Democrats was giving money to foreign countries for drag shows.
Mm.
For drag shows. For research of trans animals. But you can't get clean water in Flint, Michigan, though. I bet.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We can't get clean drinking water. Because they gotta have that drag show. They gotta have that $100 million gas station in the Middle East somewhere that ain't never been built. I'm just saying. I'm not bringing it out because I'm a concerned American. I'm a concerned conservative, and I want American dollars and American pockets.
Right.
That ain't happening because we ain't American. You know why? Because the money should have been going to us, black man. That's black people money. That's all that money that's going to that goddamn drag show in the foreign country. That was supposed to be your money.
Right.
But you gotta have 2 jobs now. Overtime used to be like, no, I want some extra money. I want to take the family out. Overtime is mandatory now. If you don't get the overtime, you hurting.
You ain't gonna pay them bills.
If you don't have a second job, you hurting. That's the reality now, right? All them billions of dollars wasted. And you think them $1 billion is coming back to you? You's a goddamn dummy. You think these rich white folk doing this for you? My bad. We gotta get out of here. And then y'all think we Republican off on this news show?
Right.
We bringing it out to show how much they don't give a damn about us.
Right.
Doge is exposing the hate towards you, not the love for America, not the love for the working man and the tax dollar. The tax dollars is going where the tax dollars should be. Some tax dollars are going to Elon Musk's friends and Donald Trump's friends. You might get a little bit of kickback, but let's be real. A billionaire ain't working for free. y'all thought, oh, he what he say? America, I'm not getting charged. I'm not going to charge America for my services, and we're going to find the American dollar. You think a billionaire is going to work for free?
You know what he did?
What's up?
Listen, check this out. This is another thing. This is how you know he hustling black people, right? He talk about he gonna let people who pay child support claim it on their taxes. Think about that. Who pay the most child support?
Come.
So he know he's shooting right now for the black popularity. You understand?
Propaganda.
Even though he know propaganda, but he knows he don't have to run. He's not gonna run another term. But his vice president, J.D. Vance, that's gonna be the next man up.
Well, I'm not surprised.
That's gonna be the next man up.
Oh, y'all thought J.D. Vance was gonna stop right there?
Yeah.
Just like your boy what? Biden.
Yeah.
Just like your boy Biden. He wanted to keep going. He damn near on a goddamn oxygen tank trying to chug it. He ain't done with that power. It just goes to show you though how much they don't give a damn about you. But I hope y'all got an understanding on Ukraine, where it started from, where it's going, and that this war is not ending. Don't get fooled by a ceasefire. Don't get fooled by a press conference with Putin or a press conference with Zelensky and Trump or whatever propaganda is out there. We are in World War III.
Right.
And it's going to get worse. You are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are under Commander in Hana. We've been teaching this truth since 1969 that the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are in fact the true biblical Jews of the Bible, and that our oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. This is the One West News Desk. I'm your host, Captain Saparia, along with my other host,
Matham
Shakaria. We'll be back here every Monday night, bringing you breaking news, local, national, and international news. Unbiased, uncut, and the truth. You understand?
That's right.
And with that, shalom, Israel.
Shalom, Israel. I gotta look that up, man. I can't remember.